The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to my State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. It has been a week. Every week has been a week, but we are certainly peaking, we hope, with Omicron, given that in Rhode Island it's 90% of what we're dealing with versus Delta, right? There are great indications in the Northeast, at least, that we may be seeing some wind back of this thing. Wastewater numbers in Boston, for instance, are down, and that's usually a week in front indicator of how this whole thing is going. One day at a time, but for the teachers in the school systems, let's remember, this has been an arduous task from Jump Street. And so that call for distance learning for the week from the National Education Association of Rhode Island, while seemingly controversial for some, was certainly understandable. The semantics in all of it we discussed with Bob Walsh of the National Education Association in our program tonight. But first, let me play for you an Amanda Pitts story from Tuesday night after the state board gave the commissioner, Angelica Infante green light on deciding about distance learning, not for the state, but for districts when they need it.
You are not keeping our children safe.
Heated public comments on the topic of distance learning at Tuesday's meeting of the Council on Elementary and Secondary Education.
RIDE needs to offer a virtual option for every public school district in the state.
Just under 20 teachers and parents shared their opinions with the council. Only one in favor of schools remaining fully in person.
My children's school has been, I feel, a very safe environment for them.
Parent Erica Lambert believes students are safer in schools, saying it's better for their mental health and for working parents.
They're learning, and my husband and I can continue to do our jobs.
Others, though, say the situation inside schools isn't safe enough.
So many of the things that we were promised as parents that were supposed to happen last year with regard to updating our schools and making their air systems better and fixing infrastructure never happened. And stop lying to us about that stuff.
One Central Falls teacher says she's seeing record absences.
16 out of 22 students have already missed more than 10% of the school year. Out of less than 75 days of school, I have had 3 students miss over 25 of them.
Department of Education Commissioner Angelica Infante Green continues to say schools are safe and are staying in person.
Our goal remains the same, to keep students in school where they learn best and ensure their safety and health.
But some believe the best of both worlds might be the better option.
I'm asking for an option for distance learning. I'm asking for an option for people who need their kids in school to have their kids in school. I believe that both are 100% warranted.
And so we welcome the chief troublemaker in all of this, the executive director of the National Education Association, Bob Walsh, whose press release this week put a public face on what has been a, behind the scenes education conversation about what do we do next. For this platform, Bob, Happy New Year. Great to have you on. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dan. Always good to be back.
The world is crazy. We've already agreed on that in past TV and radio shows. But now it feels like, in the peak of this winter, some good rational decisions have got to be made, and the advocacy that you bring to the table representing the teachers is an important one. Luckily, and importantly, I think you've been at the table, right, in terms of strategies over the last week or so. Before we talk about the press release that you issued, which began the public conversation of a week of distance learning, tell me what it's been like, the dynamic, behind the scenes trying to work this whole thing out.
Well, the headline, and we were working on this throughout the school vacation week as well, in daily conversation. The goal remains the same. Every student in a classroom, because in-person education is absolutely the best. We are not wavering from that. Distance learning is not a good substitute, and constant disruptions are even worse. And starting with the first day of school after the new year, we monitored things. And, we did the round robin of calls. How's it going? How's it looking? And as the week progressed last week, things were getting worse, mostly independent of COVID, but of course, because of COVID, just due to teacher, education support professional, and student absences. And because of COVID, we do not have a robust army of substitutes available to fill those slots. By the end of that first week, and again, still having all the conversations with all the players, we said, you know, something may have to give. And by the beginning of this week, we came out and said, look, people need relief. Superintendents absolutely need the power to make judgments. And in the bigger districts, you can do it on a school by school or even a classroom by classroom basis, as you've seen in Providence. For the smaller districts, you don't almost have to make the call on a district-wide basis just for some level of consistency. Some have done that, some haven't. And we came out and we said, look, distance learning this week makes a lot of sense. Reverse the model. Tell us why it doesn't versus tell us why it does. Just to really give some superintendents some cover and let them know that they would have our support if they made that call. Now, that doesn't mean it was definitely the majority point of view, but it was not unanimous. We heard from a few folks, no, it's going well here. I said, great.
Well, listen, there's one thing that's been interesting in a world of near unanimity that you have toiled in, meaning union discussion strategies alike, whether it be on collective bargaining matters, whether it be on other, teacher perspective education matters. In the past, pre-COVID, we usually could expect that there was, a high percentage of union rank and file that would be agreeing with the final outcome of the position of the union. I'm sure that you long for that day to come back. I think in all sorts of facets of our lives, we long for a pre-COVID kind of condition to come back. But the truth is this virus has pierced philosophy, ideology, unanimity, all that kind of thing. People feel differently about perspective about their jobs and the like. And so you've had that challenge, because I'm sure you've had quite a lot of internal discussions that could be turned battles over the course of the last 2 years.
Well, there were
everybody sees this thing differently. And so that's going to be the same inside the superintendent world. It's going to be the same inside the administration world. It's going to be, and very much going to be inside the parent world, where there's people with very different opinions. Most vocal are those who do not want distance learning.
Yeah, and we don't either. It is a less desirable option. The other option is we could have called for, shut it down for a week. We're at the absolute peak. Attendance levels of staff and students are abysmal by any standard that you would use. Shut it down, add a week to the end of the year, but that presents its own problems. Right? So weighing things in the balance, you've got, there's a saying that when we're, doing a case or an arbitration or something, an arbitrator will often politely say, we'll give that argument the weight it deserves. So if you're even one of our members saying, no, everything's fine, I want schools to be open. And if they follow it up with, because I don't really believe this is a problem, you don't give that argument a lot of weight. If they say, I'm fully vaccinated, I'm boosted, the vast majority of my kids are, we're still running 90% attendance of faculty and staff, I'd say, and we've got all the equipment. We've got the masks, we've got, the air purifiers, we've got availability of testing. We say, great, that's it, that's the ideal, that's the standard, or the Omicron-based standard. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and we're with you all the way. It's when you get into that middle ground, where teachers are covering not only their own classes, but everyone else's. When you're literally pulling administrators, superintendents, and principals and putting them into classrooms just to have a body in there, and the classrooms don't have enough students. This was the observation of this week. And the problem, this is causing next week's problem.
Yeah, well, to that point, taking a week off or a week distance learning or whatever the week projection is, the challenge is that you don't know how long we're going to be in this thing.
Well,
thankfully,
push back a little on that for a second. We also represent the workers at the Department of Health who help us interpret these charts. And when they are credibly saying this week, the week we're taping on Thursday, is literally projected to be the peak of Omicron in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Then, it wasn't informed, and knowing that we would get some relief from the Monday holiday coming up, It was kind of all right, if you're going to pick a week to, give some relief, this would have been the week.
Okay, I'm ready to acquiesce to that. In fact, the news, as we recorded this on Thursday morning, I saw a story that wastewater contamination levels in the city of Boston were down 40%, which is always a week in front indicator about where the infectious level is going to be. Can you imagine that we actually, test our boo-boo in order to
look at that data every week? So yes, not only imagine, who knew?
Yeah,
and it is an indicator, and obviously there was a surge related to the holidays, but it's it, even down 40%, it's still above the level it was a month ago, but it's heading in the right direction. But
so let me do this. When we come back, regardless of the timing of this whole thing and the valid point that you're making, the one thing that you touched on is the real reason for this, and I want to come back to that in the next segment, because I think that's really crucial. Back with Bob Walsh from the NEA in just a moment on My State of Mind. Stay with us, please. Back with the Executive Director of the National Education Association for Rhode Island, Bob Walsh. We're talking about, a week step. First of all, let's establish this. Based on the way things went, and even with your request, as it was publicly made earlier in the week, we are not going, at least at press time, we are not going to a week of distance learning across the board in the state. As the story that I played earlier in the show indicates, Angelica Infante Green, the Ed Commissioner, has secured authority from the state board to do what she had been doing. It's kind of like driving without a license. She had, which I did as a teenager, and my father's like, how long have you been driving on my first test drive? I'm like, well, I've been driving for a while. What? But anyway, sorry about that. But anyway, she's got authority now to give discretion, to go ahead and bless the local decisions. And we see in headlines that, there are school systems that are canceling midterms. There are some high schools that had to shut down temporarily. That's all going to be kind of blessed from the state level. And I think that's the way this is going to deal with it. And to your credit, the thing that was kind of the sub discussion from your headline is that you more or less said, hey, we'd like to see a week in distance learning, but please give local systems discretion to do so if they need to. And I think that you articulated is going to happen. The thing that I think that everybody needs to understand is the rationale for this. It's not necessarily infection rates. It's just staffing availability. And you kind of blew through that quickly amidst all the things we were talking about. That is essentially one of the two factors. There's two factors: faculty availability and student availability. And when they're coming and going, like you can't even keep up with. And when there is actually no finger left to stick in the dike because there aren't any personnel around to hold the classroom down, or there's so many out of the classroom that you can't have any education continuity, that's when you say, uncle, on a classroom, school, or district basis, correct?
Yes, that's exactly the point. And, I guess the modifier it had, through no fault of their own. If half the kids decide to go on a ski trip that's unauthorized and just, then school goes on and those students are responsible for making up the work. It is through no fault of their own that they're either quarantining from COVID or they have COVID, and the same with faculty and staff. If they have COVID or they're quarantining and they're following the rules and they're not available to be there. The real question, and they made a commitment, the commissioner made a commitment by close of business today that they would outline some of the standards they would be looking for from the districts of how to make these decisions. And there might be some nuance between districts and among districts to get to different levels. But what level of staffing, if staffing or student attendance drops below a certain level, should that signal the need for distance learning independent of what's going on in the outside world with infection rates? We would lay over that, as we did this week, saying with those problems in place of attendance and peaking with Omicron, the perfect storm of issues led us to where
I would and plan to, have a discussion with the commissioner about these standards. All due respect to her, and I'm very bullish on her leadership, I think you can overmanage this. At one point, to then just hurry up and apply a standard to this. Look, well, I think districts are going to operate in good faith. They know when it's uncle. I mean, they don't want to be calling distance learning. I mean, but they know when it's uncle, and it's like, you know what? Whatever the number is, we can't run this school right now. Because
right, and no, I not only fully agree with you. We, Larry Pirtle, our statewide president, who's on the Council of Elementary and Secondary Education, put in a motion saying, just give the authority to the superintendents. And the chair of the board said, what happens if you have a rogue superintendent? That would be a nice problem to have, and they have the ability to address it if such a thing happened. We wanted to cut out the middleman. Well, since I've been doing your show, since we've been doing the shtick, so to speak, these many years, I always talk about who decides, where is the decision making made, and where is it best made. And we feel that in this particular set of circumstances, you shouldn't have to go as a supplicant to the Department of Ed and say, please, may I have some more distance learning? If that's the call you make based on your own standards and your own evaluation, they probably should support that call carte blanche.
But at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is that nobody's going to be suing anybody over this. And if a superintendent has got to say, sorry, the doors are closing in this particular high school for a couple of days because I don't have anybody to work, that's it. I mean, it's
right.
So,
it's and just to for the public to clarify why is, they can call snow days whenever they want, usually when it's snowing. What the commissioner is really giving permission for is to count a distance learning day as a school day. Under the prior emergency orders coming from the governor's office, both Governor Raimondo and Governor McKee, they had that right. But when the emergency order expired, we were in a gray area where they didn't have the right. So the question became, who should decide? And the commissioner asked for that power herself. And our suggestion was give it to the superintendents, which is how this whole set of circumstances started leading us to have this conversation.
Well, it's not as nonchalant as 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but it's kind of close. When we come back, just a short conversation with Bob on the tenor of this, and the tone of all of this. Stay with us. Back with Bob Walsh of the National Education Association of Rhode Island. He is its executive director. Look, I think we have to repeat something that's really important. Teachers have done incredible work since the beginning of this whole thing. Typical union criticism ought to be put on the sidelines because I think all hands have been on deck. And I think the teachers as a profession have acted incredibly admirably in this region and certainly in this state. So there's that. You said something on the radio earlier this week that upset some folks. And then when you said, hey, you know what, they need a break. It's only been a weekend, but already it's a mess, they need a break. I got your point. I didn't find it offensive. Others did, only in the sense that, parents need a break. Parents need to be considered. I mean, they got to go to work. They got to go to work. If they got to mind the kids at home, it is a lifestyle and economic hardship sometimes. And then I likened it in my Valley Breeze column this week to all of this is important stress, but it's nowhere near the stress that frontline healthcare workers are dealing with on a day in, day out basis. So react, if you will, to
I heard some of that the people who disagree with everything I say anyway were mad that I said teachers.
Come on.
So let me modify it. Teachers are exhausted. Education support professionals are exhausted. They are worn out. They are frazzled. They are taking care of your kids. They are making sure they wear masks. They're keeping an eye on them. They're keeping an eye on their health and safety. They're getting them to the school nurse teacher. So it's beyond tired. They are exhausted. And not only are they covering their own classrooms, they're covering other people's classrooms because so many people are out absent because they love what they do and they love their children. So if you want to push back on that, I get it. You don't like that their unions exist. You don't like that I exist. And that's all part of the great dialogue. But I'll tell you the other part of the tone, the headlines are when we might disagree on things, but we still continue to work closely with groups like the School Committee Association, the Superintendents Association. We have lots of common ground. We've got to navigate the funding part of this pandemic because there are a lot of kids aren't there, and it messes up the funding formula because average daily attendance is down. So we'll be going to the legislature as a team to say, here's where we need relief, and here's where we can do better going forward and set the stage for the next decade of robust public education.
Okay, well, listen, at the end of the day, I only have about 30 seconds here. One thing that's really important, in some districts need it more than others, more masks, good masks, KN95 masks, you know, making sure that we got all the facilities to make these places clean and the air quality good. Now, let's just remember, if we have a day like, you know, last Tuesday, Wednesday, where it's, you know, -5 wind chill, the option of opening the window in the classroom goes away temporarily. So, you know, there's
right. And if we had better ventilation, we wouldn't have to worry about the window issue at all. And some schools just have not met that standard yet. But we, you know, it has put a real focus on just the infrastructure quality of the schools, and that's something else we need to address for the long term.
No doubt. Listen, thank you, sir. We'll keep the dialogue ongoing in this. I think we all are in the same soup, and we just pray that Omicron has its head. Listen, the stress is exceptionally real in the schools for everybody. Just remember, comparative though to what happens day in, day out in our emergency rooms and ICUs, it's almost like minor league. Blessings to them. This too will pass. We'll talk to you over the course of the week. Weekdays 3 to 6 on WPRO. We'll be back in the studio sometime soon, I hope. Until then, thanks for Zooming.